times every single year, quarterly earnings for Tesla. And because I'm in Europe right now, I cannot participate in all the amazing live streams that Herbert and the Cyberbulls have set up. I cannot join Pidgey. I got all these invites. I had to reject them because I am old and I need to sleep when it's midnight, and all these lights around here are bad for your melatonin. Can't sleep if you do shows at midnight. So I'm working very hard on Pioneer Lands on getting to you guys a totally new set of analyses about the future of AI, from Micron to Nvidia to AMD to the sector analysis, and of course our favorites, SpaceX and Tesla. And so I have to work very hard. I need to sleep at night. So unfortunately, I cannot join the live commentary on the earnings call when it's out. But you know what's more important? You know what's much more important than that? The preview, because you want to know what is happening before it happens. And that's exactly why we are now preempting all of these things. You should still watch, of course, everyone. We have great commentators out there. But what do we do in preparation to this great or not so great earnings call? And that is exactly leading me to what we will see sooner to later today. Here is the stock, by the way, doing horrible as always. And we have to now see what's going on. We have Detlef Lau already aus Nordzypern, North Cyprus. Beauty sleep is very important. Runer Botnetotland is absolutely right about that. In Stagner, say let's do it. So we are seeing the stock here. What do we actually have to expect in this earnings call? We will look into this. First of all, we have a great video out. Joe Tegmeyer, he is just the best. He will win all the Oscars that you can win for these videos. You see here an employee cybercap carrying Tesla employees around. Here, I show you. And it parks, and you see cybercap is actually delivering the employees of Tesla around the Giga Austin super mega giga Terra factory. And it opens with these beautiful doors. No steering wheel. Fazad will have a bad day. And they're already deployed. So what happens now with earnings? What is happening here? Here is a very good chart of CERN. I will go into some details first about Tesla, the stock, where we are right now with Cybercap, deployment, Robotaxi, and the frustrations. As you all know, we have scaled nicely on the Cybercap production. My predictions about Cybercap scaling became true. My predictions about Cybercap deploying became not true yet. And CERN is actually doing us a favor by outlining this very interesting chart, where you see technical capability and reliability. I would actually add to that blue line now more and more, and we are here. That is what we could do. And to that blue line, I want to add, even though that's a different blue line that goes up, I want to add Cybercap scaling. So we are scaling up the infrastructure, we are scaling up the entire fleet, but we are not scaling up deployment. And these two lines, okay, they create a gap, and that gap is growing every day. The more the capabilities go up, and the more Cybercap manufacturing goes up, and the less and the more we continue to not scale. And that creates frustration. That creates anger. That creates shareholders who curse Elon, who say, what the hell? That brings the bear out and say, this is all a hoax. But we shouldn't forget, the widening of the gap is not because we are not deploying more Cybercaps or Robotaxis. It's because the capabilities actually are going up, and that's a very good thing. Okay, so that's the little bull case here. The bull case is Tesla makes tremendous progress. Everything looks great. We are just a little delayed, and people are angry, and the anger stands in no relation to the actual progress we are making. And I believe that is actually true. You see this here, today, Tesla second quarterly earnings call, Joe Tegmeyer, and he shows us all these great constructions that are going up. Tesla is in absolute investment mode. That's the Optimus, new Optimus. factory where we'll see all these amazing robots being built in the future in 2 years or whatever when they start scaling. We know that Cybercab is now produced. See here, they got a good picture of Fazat when he saw another Cybercab without steering wheel and Fazat goes in total meltdown. Nice shot. I don't know if that was also Joe Techtmeyer with his up-close drone technology. Maybe. Fazat very frustrated when Tesla North America says no steering wheel, no pedals. So all of this is going on. We have also here Cantor Fitzgerald saying today, ahead of Q2 earnings, overweight rating at $510 price target. The firm highlighted that the company's Robotaxi venture and forthcoming Cybercab platform presents a highly lucrative software as a service opportunity, like transportation as a service. Furthermore, the analysts believe that once commercialized, Tesla can swiftly scale its Robotaxi operations and secure a substantial market share despite delays to a wider rollout. Okay, I totally agree. I think Morgan Stanley with 30,000 Cybercabs or Robotaxis deployed in 2030 is totally wrong, and Cantor Fitzgerald is actually more positive on this. We also have Optimus coming. Okay, now I wrap it up here. I gave you the bull case. You understand the bull case. You understand that the stock has a brilliant future ahead of it. But here is why I'm a little cautious. Here is why I'm very unbullish on this earnings call. And why I'm not playing these earnings, and why, in fact, currently I have reduced my Tesla holdings in the Pioneer Reserve, in Pioneer Alpha, to the minimum possible, to the core position. It's still very significant. It's still the largest holding, even though my net exposure to Micron since last week is actually larger than Tesla, if you include all the options. But on a share stock holding level, of course, Tesla is still the largest position, but it's only the long-term position. I am totally stripped of all tactical trades for Tesla because despite all these positive things, we need to be a little grown up and take a step back. By the way, when I'm tactically bearish on Tesla, I still remain in my core position because I cannot afford to miss out on any surprise craziness that might happen. So of course, I'm holding a lot of Tesla, but tactically, I see many other trades or some other trades that are much better risk reward. What is the problem with Tesla? The problem with Tesla is that we know how these earnings calls go. If history is any kind of teacher to us, we know that Elon is gonna perform so, not so great. I had multiple videos now outlining my perspective on the Musk universe, on Elon's mind, how I see it. Elon has a lot on his plate, and Elon has many projects, and he cannot focus on all of them at once. And when you stack rank them and think about where the money is for Elon's universe, I tell you where the tactical money is. The tactical money is in Colossus build out for SpaceX. That is where the biggest chunk of tactical money is. Tens of billions in profit this year if they do it right. I'm sure Elon is on that one. That is also something more or less solved, so I don't think he spends most of his time on that. But he will watch it because that is a very tactical super win for SpaceX. SpaceX is in free fall, of course, as of course obviously predicted by me and everyone else. It keeps falling, it will keep falling, but there's a giant surprise waiting. Gavin Baker talked about it after I talked about it, by the way. I'm not saying Gavin steals my stuff, but he was a little late on that. It is clear that Colossus will deliver massive earnings. So that surprise earnings potentially. So SpaceX is in free fall, while we actually see potentially disruptive earnings coming in for SpaceX. I love it. I might not wait until December for SpaceX. If that keeps falling, and our research shows more and more that this EBIT is rolling in soon, maybe SpaceX becomes a buy way before December. What I am saying is Elon is focusing on that. The biggest thing, I can guarantee you, the biggest thing Elon is focusing on right now is, both from a tactical short-term and from a strategic long-term perspective, by far the biggest lever. Bigger than Robotaxi, bigger than Optimus, bigger than Colossus, even bigger than Starship, for reasons I will explain in a second, and that is AI satellites. Because AI satellites is what everyone got wrong, except for me, because I said it since October or November last year when this came out. I said, people do not understand how much of a low-hanging fruit orbital compute is, and how much of an enormous push function is pushing towards orbital compute, and how much everything hinges not on Starship, for reasons I explain in a second, but on the AI satellite readiness. Everyone knows we can build these AI satellites, but the question between having them commercially ready end of next year versus 2029 or 2028 is a $1 trillion question. Elon understands that, and I guarantee you he's all over AI satellites. If they can pull AI satellites off next year, they will get hundreds of billions in deals for AI satellites in 2028 and starting in the second half of 2027. Not hundreds of billions, but it starts. That is by far the biggest key lever in the entire Musk universe. The second key lever is of course Starship, but Starship is kind of solved. I'm not going to go into the details, but it is effectively solved. So for the AI satellites, because the reusability of Starship is not that important. It is important long-term and mid-term, but not short-term. Even if they wouldn't reuse it, it's already viable if you had the AI satellites. Why am I saying all these things? Because it means. And then after AI satellites, then Starship, then Colossus, then Optimus, and only then Robotaxi. Why? Because Robotaxi is effectively a solved problem. Okay? It's effectively a solved problem because Robotaxi is just execution from here on out. It is not something where we need Elon to focus on. Ashok and the team has taken care of Robotaxi, and we are seeing them executing. What can Elon do to accelerate this? Not much. That is why he's a little nonchalant commenting on Robotaxi and saying things that effectively didn't come true. I think Elon is simply not paying too much attention to it because in his mind it's a soft thing, execute, get them out, and do all these little things, these annoying little things, the last little edge cases, the cleaning centers, all these things that in his mind were solved a long time ago. So that is my take on it, and that means the following. This earnings call, if there's any surprise here, of course you never know, but in my opinion, the only surprise we will get is Capex. Capex is going up, and that is not a good thing in this whole market. Now the market has recovered a little bit from the panic attack about Micron and the semiconductors. So I think maybe we are digesting this Capex surprise nicely. It's also potentially not a surprise anymore. Why is the stock down so much? Because people probably pricing that whole Capex situation in, that the market will not take too well, that we have surprise Capex. I don't know how much of a surprise, no one knows, we will hear very soon. But when I look at the whole situation, can they pull something out of their hat? Can Elon say something that is actually positive as a catalyst? I have my doubts because unless it's something extremely tangible, and even if it's tangible, you know, the effects will be limited because if it's tangible, the market is also going to say, well, then just let's wait for it to happen. If Elon says, oh, we are actually scaling CyberCap, rollout deployment in the next month, the market could also say, well, why would I buy the stock now? Then just wait 2 weeks and see it and then buy it. So there's actually a lot of skepticism in the market across the board, not just for Tesla, and that makes this tough. In other words, it's show me time, and you can't show too much in earnings other than the actual earnings of the core business, which is kind of known. It's not the big driver. Anything but CyberCap or Optimus is kind of pie in the sky, even if they make announcements. I do not think announcements at this point are moving the needle. Not just because of Tesla, but because of the entire market. The market is spoiled. The market wants to see massive cash flows, and even if they see the cash flows, they punish stocks like Nvidia and Micron. It's getting a little better now, but that is my take. So I do not see what Elon could possibly say to give this stock a huge boost. I do also not see how there's any enormous surprise in earnings that is very positive. I think earnings will be very good, but everyone knows that. And I do not see how Capex is not a drag. Now, that doesn't mean the stock has to crash, because this is kind of all known and should be priced in. I expect like a plus minus 2% swing. If I had to bet, more like a minus 2% swing. And we will keep waiting for Robotaxi. So that's why I'm holding back, not doing anything here around earnings, and let's see what will happen. On a strategic level, is Tesla a total buy? Yes. Strategic meaning 12 months or more. So that's my take. It's good to be in Tesla. Very tactically, there might be better opportunities if you want to trade, if you want to jump on trains. Let's see what happens. So let's go into... Yeah, Lobonium says all signs seem to point out to it being bad. Not really bad earnings. It points out to being good earnings, but a bad reaction of the stock. I agree, but you know how it is. If everything points in one direction, it might do the opposite. It's just extremely, extremely hard to see how this can actually go very well. Let's go into the discussion here and see what's going on. Mar Haider says, got margin called, still made 4,000 to 6,000 Danish kroner on each of the 4 short puts I had to close. That's good. That's a good job. If FSD fails, the stock is cooked. That is absolutely true. Roy says, Joe, last time Trump almost ended the war with Iran. Since it's escalating now, I want to know your thoughts about a recession. We can discuss this in a second. Tesla expand to new cities again. Exactly how Pavu has is absolutely right about that. Endo says live stream during earnings report would be fun. I know, but it's too late. Sleep is important. Elon is your wild card. It's true. I mean, you never... That's why I don't like playing earnings. Like, of course, something can happen. Of course, the stock can go up. I just don't know. Moral of the story, buy something. This is not financial advice, but bro, because I love you, just buy something. I don't understand the joke, Poxy. When Tesla does great before earnings, it usually crashes. It's not so strong and everyone seems bearish. You know what that means. Yes, we have performed very poorly into earnings, that's the only bullish sign here. You know, could we go up after earnings? Who knows? Of course we can. We always go down 5%. Not always. We go mostly down 2%, I would say. Here are some trolls. Why do we have so many trolls? Unfortunately, I can't kick them out right now. I have to go on YouTube for that. Robotaxi here, Poxy Frostbite says, Robotaxi is the lowest value long-term opportunity, but it's the success that helps fund the highest value long-term opportunities. But Joe, the S&P is sideways for a few weeks. The world is ending. Exactly. The end of the world is here. I mean, yeah, if you just played on what Lobonium is saying, all signs seems to point at being bad. You can be contrarian, like Jinaisu says, then it's going to be good. I mean, from a purely contrarian and momentum perspective, yes, it's looking more bullish than bearish because we sold off too much. We are selling off into very good earnings. So a contrarian take is, yeah, it's probably going to go up a little bit. But look at Micron. Look at what happens to semiconductors. The market can be very negative if they want to. Crosby says, when can we expect Optimus V3 demo? Well, on Optimus, what we see here is that the actual build out of the Optimus factory is making great progress. And on Optimus, I do think I would not expect big demos because demos make not much sense. We are not in demo mode anymore. We are in deployment mode. And I think on Optimus, we should be prepared to not see much. We don't see much because I'm just looking at the market. Wow, there's like, I'm glad I'm in Micron right now. This is like Amazon down, Palantir down 6%, Apple down 1%. Microsoft 2%. Nvidia's up a lot, of course. That's good for me. I'm betting on semis right now. So I don't think Optimus will see a lot of demos. I think demo time is over. This is all about hardcore deployment. So it might need a little bit more time. Colin Kaiser says sleep masks are wonderful for sleeping whenever I want. Sleep masks, but I can't wear a sleep mask when I do live casting. Mine has Bluetooth speakers. Very nice. I think we will be surprised on how many FSD subs. Yeah, that could be. Elon to bullshit his way through call, broken promises, stick will drop. Maybe, potentially. Tesla is still a growth stock? Well, I think CERN is absolutely right, even though no one wants to hear that right now because everyone is angry. But CERN is right. We are totally on track. This is going to scale. Well, maybe we are not on track. Who knows if we're on track or not? But we are making progress and CyberCap is scaling. There is no doubt this is a huge deal. But if we have a narrow view, like I had, and say it's May, it's June, it's July, it's not happening, then everyone gets frustrated. But, you know, yeah, we are a little late. We are 3 months late. When do you accumulate SpaceX as it's dropping? I will wait a little longer. I said normally I would wait all the way to December, but the way it's dropping very hard while I'm getting more bullish on Colossus deployment. And so I might start doing something, but not now. Not now. You have to keep watching the stream because I'm making my mind up while I watch this. You have to be tactical sometimes and watch it. But we are now at 1.6 trillion, maybe below 1.6 trillion today. It's getting cheap. I think these people can get to a $30 billion EBIT run rate now in 2026. Let that sink in. At a 50 forward price earnings ratio, you're at 1.5 trillion. So if SpaceX actually drops below 1.5 trillion, which is extremely close to where it is now, 5% more and you're there, and you get Colossus scaled, which is already done, and we are seeing contracts coming in, suddenly you're at a 50 price earnings ratio. That's pretty crazy. From 500, down from 500. Free says Elon bullshit until it's not, and then everyone buys. That's the best summary I've ever heard. Exactly. So the bears are out to eat Joe alive. The bears are out today to eat Joe alive. What does that mean? Am I a bear or a bull? Fred Seamus, NPV of future cash flows keeps going up with less uncertainty. Stock should be at 800 now. I agree. But we also have to understand the market. Andreas Peterson says, I want it to crash. Want to buy for cheaper price. Tesla 100, please. I don't get why there's so little information about semi. That's huge. I want to buy cheap 27.7 when I get my salary. The joke is that people just need to invest, full stop. That's true. Not in options that aren't for them, not using leverage, just boring cash for equity. There's a great study, Poxy. What was that study? Where people said people who deal with Tesla or something, they just make more money, much more money. And the reason is, was it about Tesla? It was basically the effect that people who deal with stocks and think about stocks always outperform everyone else. But no, this was the funny thing. People who try to make money with stocks always outperform everyone else who doesn't deal with stocks, even though they underperform the market, because their commitment to stocks leads them to invest in random stocks. They slightly underperform the market, but they put much more of their money into the market, into their portfolio, and that makes them outperform most of the population because most of the population is not exposed to the market. That was very interesting. So basically, you want to be smart, you want to outperform the market. Turns out you actually make more money than everyone else, but you still underperform the market. Isn't that funny? Well, I'm outperforming the market, by the way, bigly. But who knows? France's anti-FSD vote will cause a hamper. Not sure. Starting to think Elon wants Tesla below 200. I don't buy into this conspiracy theory that Elon wants to push Tesla lower. I think there is a natural inclination if he wants to merge that he isn't going to push the stock up with everything he has, but that's a different story. Blake Jenkins, hello, huge fan. Hi, Blake. Did we get rid of the trolls? I don't even know. You guys have to get rid of the trolls. I can't do it from here. But I think all the trolls are gone now. Andrea says, I couldn't care less about weak people who are angry on Elon sell, then get out of Tesla and I buy your share cheap. Exactly. That's the right attitude. SpaceX needs to use a wedge to buy Tesla so I get my payout. $750, as you said, is what I think. You are correct and Alexandra was wrong. By the way, Alexandra now says she's changing her mind and says they might have to do what I say. What I said. They need to have a ratchet and stuff because SpaceX goes down so much. That was predictable that they go down. Roy says market is pricing in a recession and the reason why all stocks are flipping down. Iran war, bad tech earnings, midterms coming up September, always bearish, a lot of tail risk. I totally agree. I think Q4 and September, October, yeah, nasty stuff. The interesting thing is that semiconductors, for example, and now even SpaceX, they're front running that a little bit. We have very low valuations on the semis, even after the latest bounce. It was very good for me. Tesla is conservatively priced more and more. SpaceX, I mean, look at SpaceX. So I agree, Roy, we have many problems, especially Iran. I mean, this seems more and more unhinged. It seems like completely unhinged at this point. US oil reserves are super low, the lowest in a very long time. The reason the oil price has not totally exploded so far was all the reserves, and they are running out. So if we hit that, and the Iranians are not dummies, they know that. They know if they push it another month, it could be a disaster. Obviously, some of their allies really don't want that. China doesn't want that. I mean, Russia, I don't know. Russia is now having talks with Rubio. I think the Ukraine war might come to an end at some point. There is a lot of talks behind the scenes, and now Lavrov is talking to Rubio, the foreign minister, Secretary of State and foreign minister. So things are happening, but Iran, yeah. Long story short, and the Chinese model drops, there is enormous. I had the black pill video on Monday. I think that was a very good video for macro understanding. I think the market understands more and more that there's tremendous risk all over the place, from macro geopolitical risk and war to AI risks, AI disruption risks, to other things, midterms, of course. And yeah, I think there are some serious headwinds. What if a robotaxi business isn't very profitable when all the capital and running expenditures are taken into account, says Jesse Cumberledge. It is very profitable because we analyzed this back and forth. Robotaxi will be an enormously profitable business. I do not think that is something we have to be worried about. We have to be worried about timing. Joe, did you see Dylan Loomis' video on Tesla? No, I saw his X post. He's getting a little negative, I think. I have to watch it. I don't know what the latest is, but Dylan seems to become a little negative here. And we have to see. Miniko says, I don't care whether it goes up or down. Just want to see Joe get excited. I'm not getting too excited if this crashes too much. But I'm in a good portfolio positioning mode right now. right? If we see a surprise rally, I'm not going to totally get killed on being left behind. But if it crashes, I was in much worse positions before. I buy SpaceX when it's at 85. Yaha Pavuo, I'm not putting a price target on my entry point. I need to see timelines and price and Colossus all coming together. It's definitely early. It's too early to buy it. That's for sure, in my opinion. Because Roy is right. We have a lot of headwinds coming for the market. And so there might be dark times ahead. And if we see dark times ahead, even if it's just for a month, SpaceX has no chance of staying here. SpaceX needs the market to be a little more positive. It needs to be cheaper. And it needs to have real signals or news that Colossus is coming. Andreas Peterson, insane how idiotic people are who ain't invested in the stock market. I wouldn't call them idiotic, by the way, Andreas. They are probably ignorant. They don't know about the stock market. They just don't know. Like, there are a few people who know about it and then don't invest. It's most like the normies out there. They don't know that stocks exist. They don't know what the market is. Tesla Autonomy UK, are you on Cyberbulls tonight? Love it when you disagree with Herbert and Alexandra. No, I said it, Tesla Autonomy. It's too late. I have to sleep at night. I don't want to have my melatonin messed up with these lights. These lights are very intense. Looking forward to updated FSD subscription stats, recurring revenue. Absolutely. The merger can happen when Tesla is dropping. Cheaper deal. Just as question how fast Elon wants to go. Yeah. Joe, what's your 2030 Tesla price target? It's still 4,500 updated, but we will have more updates soon. I don't change the price target too much. I don't think we are too late, actually. I keep all my latest. I took it down from 10,000 beginning of last year because I was then anticipating faster roll. I shifted the timeline 18 months. That gets me to roughly 4,500. I think, people will be very impressed. I have to still run the SpaceX numbers. Let's see. Will we see Tesla at 1,000 by year end 2027? Probably. I do think so. Joe, where do you think SpaceX will hit some resistance? What do you mean resistance? You mean floors to the downside resistance? I mean, there's not much holding it back right now from dropping more, in my opinion. They need to roll out Colossus. When the IRGC is gone, the world is better off. When? Yes, when. But when is that? Third place, highly doubt we rarely. Market seems to be repricing Tesla. I think that is correct. I think the market wants to see now Robotaxi rolling out. Hadouken, SC. What is SC? South Carolina. Joe, can you talk about the infrastructure needed to upkeep the Robotaxi network and where we are on the timeline with this? I always said the Robotaxi infrastructure is not any kind of bottleneck. That is easy stuff for Tesla. It is actually even easier than dealerships. They just need per city 1 or 2 major hubs, so they need to build across 3 major Texas cities. They need to have maybe, between 3 and 6 hubs. They can just build them within 2 weeks. I mean, they're Tesla. They just built Colossus in 90 days. So 120 days, whatever. So that was never the problem. There's only one problem. FSD needs to work. What's your target price if it drops? You mean Tesla? It's hard to tell. If they want to reprice it, I think it can keep dropping a little bit from here because, the market could say we want to see results. What scares me a little bit, why I'm like moderating myself on Tesla right now in this market, is I'm watching NVIDIA, AMD, Micron, and the others very closely, SK Hynix. These are tremendous companies. They have tremendous growth ahead of them. And when you see how the market treats them, okay, what if the market just says we treat Tesla like them? Then we are totally screwed. Of course, I'm not going to do that. I don't want to scare you too much. But, these are tough times. The market has extremely high expectations. I think because negativity is high, risk is high, micro risk, geostrategic risk, AI risk. And If we take these semiconductors as any kind of benchmark, ooh, it's a tough market out there. Cross your fingers, Joe. I'm advanced to interview number 2 for a new project manager position at a workplace who pays 10% more than I do today. Cross your fingers for me. I will, Andreas. That's amazing. Who's being negative? Dylan Loomis, I think. I have to watch his latest video. And I'm not saying it's bad to be negative. I just want to, Dylan is smart. He's someone who follows Tesla. I just want to see what he says. But he's a little critical. Should we look it up? We can look it up on X. What is Dylan's latest? Dylan Loomis. Here, Dylan Loomis. Not to be that guy, but this is right before earnings that they unlocked 2 more cities. This happened with Dallas and Houston last quarter, and 94 days after those launches, Tesla is still 5 to 10 active vehicles in other locations. Just something to keep in mind. So yeah, Dylan is getting a little critical here. Here with Tesla's Q2 earnings call this week, I'm sadly going in with much different expectations. I really don't know how much we can believe of what Tesla and Elon say. I'm only sharing this with the hope that Elon and Tesla will recalibrate and learn from underpromise and overperform. Here's the thing, okay? I have been an Elon follower and tracker and fan since 2009, roughly. I have followed Elon for a very long time. I have seen him as our central talent way before it was cool. I met him 2011 in Silicon Valley, had a quick chat before he was very famous. He was already a little famous. And we have to understand, like, the fanboy stuff with Elon, I have to laugh sometimes what people say about Elon. Like, Elon wants to win, he wants to dominate, he wants to have infinity money. I think he is a better personality and character than most others in that field, but that still doesn't make him a super nice guy. Like, Elon wants to win. And I think it's admirable that he has maintained, I think, a pretty strong and positive character with all that power he has. So I think it is admirable, but thinking he's like Jesus, I don't know Jesus, but thinking he's like Jesus, that's like a mistake. Elon wants to win, and if you lose a little bit in between, it's not that Elon cares about that too much. You would be very naive to think that. That doesn't mean he wants to screw us all over, but, you know, this is about winning. And you win with SpaceX right now. That doesn't mean Elon wants Tesla to fail. Tesla is very important for him too, for his whole strategy. But we have to kind of stop anthropomorphizing trillionaires, right? This is about business and winning. And if you think Elon's like, oh, I don't want to hurt anyone, like, this is very stupid. Elon is the central power player of Earth, and you need to be a little tough to be there. I'm just saying. So you have to be rational and think about, what does Elon actually want? He wants to win, and you have to stack rank the missions, and, you know, that's how it is. Be a little smarter than that. Okay, let's go down here. For Tesla, what price target if it drops? I don't know what the price target if it drops. I know the long-term price target. Usually with Tesla earnings, it depends on Elon's mood. Yeah, $4,500 price target. What a pathetic clown. Oh, there's another little. How can I get rid of trolls? I don't know how. What business plan do you think Tesla should take with Robotaxi? Run it themselves, top or bottom, or do a franchise model and charge monthly for FSD? Personally, I prefer software margins. We did the math on it. It's very clear that you have to run Robotaxi yourself. You have to do the Capex, you have to own the fleet, and then you can win. You make the most money by not renting them out. As a very small investment buyer, I like the low share prices. Of course, I will hold my 10 shares for several years at least. Colin Kaiser. Well, that's good. Hello from Florida, Space Coast. Titan IV Pad Rat. That's a great name. Hello to the Space Coast in beautiful Florida. All he said was, let's keep our hopes down. Yes, I would, I would be cautious. Down over 200K with 2,000 plus shares. I need this thing to move up. I can't ride this thing much longer. I would not get too nervous, YouTube. Tesla can drop more, of course. But we are, I think, the odds that we do not see Robotaxis at scale in the next 12 months are very, very slim. In other words, we have a very high chance to see thousands and tens of thousands of these things by this time next year. And I know everyone is complaining we are late. I'm extremely sure about that. And that would be very positive for the stock. Titan IV Pad in beautiful Florida says, Joe, if you're in the area when super heavy launches here at Space Coast, I will have a spot on my pontoon for you and a guest to be as close as we can. Also Starlink, you can live broadcast. That would be fun, Titan. You can ping me on, I don't have a Florida trip planned, but you never know. US is on the agenda and Florida is never far away from DC and New York. That would be fun. We could live stream the rocket launch from a pontoon. Love pontoons. That's so American. You have to make someone regular a mod. They can remove troll comments. Yeah, the problem is I'm streaming into X and into YouTube parallel. Yeah, I should definitely make a mod or multiple so we can kick these little trolls out. These trolls, there was, in Norway they have these little trolls. They actually have little trolls and they can be nice, they can be bad. And that's why they're called trolls. They're coming out of the caves at night and then try to be malicious. We need to kick them out. MU, I'm guessing people are looking for that special 900 before it bounces up again. Where's Micron right now? Is it going down or is it holding up at 960 or whatever? It's holding up very nicely. I made this my biggest net exposure at 850. That was a little risky, but this is just insanely undervalued, this thing. Insanely undervalued. And then some news came out. So let's see. I would be cautious about above 1,000 because you don't know what the market is up for next, but long term, this is a hot thing. Sitting at 24 shares so far and trying to get to 100 in SpaceX. Not a bad idea, but take your time. Does the cursing rain dance to make Tesla go to 100 so Andreas can buy for a very, very nice price? 100 would be pretty brutal. At least the price ran down into earnings. Yes, absolutely. That might be the only bullish sign. If you told Tesla bulls last June, this is where we would be in July 2026, 100% of them would have called you crazy as heck. Yes, that's true. Nice shirt. I bought it in Copenhagen. It's Danish. Build some decoy bridges for the trolls. Yes, exactly. Ready Trader One, du kannst mich zum Mod machen, ich bin vertrauenswürdig. The Germans, I always trust the Germans. Not all of them, but Ready Trader One. I don't trust Merz, I don't trust the Chancellor, but I trust Ready Trader One. Don't you'll be angry in 365 days. Yes. Hugh, listen to Andreas Peterson. Isla Bonita. Isla Bonita. That sounds Mexican. We need the Billy Goat Gruffs to kick those trolls off the Tesla bridge. Greetings from Grenada in the Caribbean. I have 5 SpaceX leverage position. What does that mean? 5 SpaceX leverage positions. Grenada, beautiful pirate city in the Caribbean. Greetings to the Caribbean, Isla Bonita. Andalusian stock market. If I look at the stock pattern of the weeks, it's a natural pullback, nothing to worry about. Only Merz I trust. The only Merz I trust is Alexandra. That's a very good joke. Um, blank space. Good job. That's a good joke. Okay, so I think we wrap it up here. We have seen everything we need to know. You know my take on Tesla earnings, and no one gives you the take before because they're all scared of predicting things. My job is to predict the future, and of course, sometimes I'm not correct. But I'm not doing it for clicks. I'm doing it for money. That sounds like a cheap excuse. If I was a girl, that would sound bad. I'm not doing it for clicks. I'm doing it for money. But I'm talking about the prediction of the future. And I think if I had to make a bet, Tesla drops 2%. That's my bet. That's what I think. That's what's going to happen. I have some short puts, by the way, because I don't mind buying some stocks if it goes down. But I'd offset some of my core position. I sold a piece of my core position and instead sold some short puts at the money, 377, got 12 bucks for it. So I thought that's a safer bet. Let's see. I'm doing it for alpha. Exactly. Okie dokie. So I hope you get what you want. You guys want all different things through our earnings. Some want it to drop, some want it to go up. Poxy's on my side. He's also doing it for the money. That's how we roll. And I hope you enjoy earnings. You can link into all the live streams. And I see you on the other side. Thank you so much.